Hi, are you employers who want to hire international graduates, but you are unsure because you don't know enough about the graduate route visa or skilled worker visa? Or are you international job seekers who want to increase the success rate of being hired by letting the employers know the details of these two visas? In this video, I'm going to explain how these two visas work from the perspective of employers. Check out the time codes below and you might find something new. This is Equal Jobs, a platform designed by Sambo Scotland to connect employers with ethnic minority job seekers. Between 2021 and 2022, there are over 650,000 international students studying in the UK. A lot of them are from China, India, the United States, and the EU. While non-EU students are over 450,000. Many of them study higher level qualifications such as Masters and PhD, predominantly in areas such as business and STEM subjects, which is a very valuable resource for high-skilled workers. Why should employers hire international graduates? First of all, the study shows that firms that have higher culture and ethnic diversity in their executive teams are more likely to outperform their rivals in the profits making by over 36%. Secondly, the international graduates can fill the skills gaps in areas especially in engineering, IT, and biological science. Thirdly, the firms can grow exports by harnessing the international graduates' home country knowledge and languages such as Mandarin and Arabic. There are two hiring options for employers: graduate route visa and skilled worker visa. This would include EU nationals unless they have settled or pre-settled status under the EU settlement scheme, which will give them the right to work in the UK. Let's talk about the first option, the graduate route visa. This means the graduates can stay in the UK for 2 years or 3 years if they have a PhD. This visa doesn't restrict the minimum skill level or the salary. So this means now it's easier for employers to hire. What are the benefits of hiring someone under graduate route visa? First of all, you don't need to sponsor and you don't need to pay anything. The graduates would apply for the application themselves and cover the fee themselves. Third, it offers a trial opportunity for you. You can see how someone perform in their employment periods before you committing to a sponsorship. If you want to hire someone beyond their graduate route visa period, you can ask them to apply to switch into the skilled worker visa at any point during their current visa. This is more cost-effective than going back to the job market and hire someone and train them. It's also really flexible, so this is good for people who have fixed-term projects or anything that they are not sure about the longer-term requirements. This is also very accessible for smaller employers, such as the non-profit, creative, and heritage sectors, who may not always meet the minimum salary requirement for skilled worker routes, or they may not have a sponsorship license. What are the benefits of hiring someone under skilled worker visa? First of all, it offers more flexibility over the skilled level. The role you offer has to meet at or above the minimum level of RQF3, which is A-level equivalent, and all graduates would meet this level. This means you can offer a wider range of roles, and there is no limit on the length of the time you offer to the visa, and there is no cooling off periods between this skilled worker visa and the next one. There is also no cap on the numbers of people you can offer this visa to, and there is no more residence labor market test. So comparing to the previous system, now it's removed up to 8 weeks from time taken to sponsor. Finally, there is a lower salary commitment for employers now. It's much affordable to hire because the new entrant rate has been extended from 3 years to 4 years. And this would include the time your employees spend under the graduate route visa. The person you wish to hire under the skilled worker visa must score 70 points. 50 are untraceable. So they would get 20 points if the job offer is from an approved sponsor, which means you would need to have the sponsorship license. And they would get 20 points if the job is on the list of eligible occupations. You can go to the Government UK website. Under the immigration rules, there is Immigration Rules Appendix Skilled Occupations. You can check all the eligible occupations here. They will get 10 points if their English language is at least level B1. The graduates would haphazardly need to demonstrate their level of English to be able to study here, so they don't need to take any additional tests. They also need to score at least 20 points from a range of traceable criteria, which includes being a new entrant to the labor market. What is a new entrant? Graduates who are applying to the skilled worker route from the student route or graduate route are new entrants. So are graduates under 26, or graduates who apply less than 2 years after their student route or before their graduate route's permission expired, including those applying from their home country. The salary rate you offer to the new entrant has to be £20,480, £10.10 per hour, and it also needs to meet the 70% of the going rate for the job. You can look up the going rate and the relevant 70% rate in the Immigration Rules Appendix Skilled Occupation, so the same website I said before. Let's look at a case study to understand how new entrant works. Elvie is 26 years old, and she has studied in the UK university for a degree in veterinary science. She continues her career under the graduate route visa, and now she is offered a job as a veterinarian for a starting salary of £22,900. She meets all the mandatory criteria, scoring 50 points, and now she has to get the extra 20 points to be able to switch into the skilled worker visa. Because she switches from the graduate route visa, she is eligible to be considered as a new entrant, and her salary offered is higher than £20,480. It's also higher than the 70% of the going rate for the job veterinarian, which is £32,500. So how the calculation works is £32,500 times 70% equals to £22,750. And the salary offered to her is higher than this number. So this means she is able to switch into the skilled worker route. Let's compare these two visas by looking at this table. To view this table in your own time, please download the document called Recruiting International Graduates from the link in the description. The advantages of hiring undergraduate route is it doesn't cost you anything. There is no restrictions of the salary other than it's beyond national minimum wage, and there is no minimum job skill level. And the advantage of hiring under skilled worker route is you can extend the visa as many times as you like, as long as the role and the person still meet the eligibility requirement. For some PhD level jobs, the applicants must obtain ATAS security clearance, and the employer must confirm this in their certificate of sponsorship. This would be jobs such as chemical scientists and physical scientist. You can check the relevant jobs, subject areas, and exempt nationalities in this document if you go to the Government UK Sponsor Worker Sponsor Guidance Part 2. You click into this document and you go to this Annex S1, further information on the ATAS requirements. It will give you the relevant occupation codes, subject areas, and everything you need to know. Let's talk about the license. If you already have a license, your old Tier 2 General license will automatically be replaced by the skilled worker license. And the old unrestricted Tier 2 General certificate of sponsorship will also be automatically replaced by the new one. If you don't have a license, you can apply online. Many employers now are taking out a license because EU nationals are now fall under the point-based immigration system, unless they have a pre-settled status. You can go to the Government UK website to see how to apply for a license. The link is inside the document down in the description. On this page, apply for a sponsored license, go to the employers, and they have the eligibility, job suitability, everything you need to know about applying for a sponsorship license. You will need to pay for £536 for small or charitable sponsors, and for medium or larger sponsors, you will need to pay for £1,476. This is a one-off payment, not annual, but you do need to pay a fee to renew this license normally every 4 years. For applications, it normally takes less than 8 weeks to get a decision. If you want to get a decision within 10 working days, you may be able to pay £500 to achieve that. Now we are going to cover some frequently asked questions from employers. If you are applicants, don't walk away. Continue to watch this video, and there might be something useful for you to tell the employers if they're doubting to hire you. Is it discriminatory not to consider applications from international students? For example, is it okay for us to state on our website or in our recruitment process that all applicants must have permission to work in the UK? It is illegal to discriminate against international students. Whilst the law requires the employers only hire individuals with the right to work in the UK, it is unlawful to not accept applications from or employ individuals based on their nationality. Some exemptions apply, for example, roles in relation to national security, but in general, employers that refuse to accept applications from someone because they may not have a visa to work in the UK could be open to claims of discrimination, which is what happened in the case of Osborne Clark Services versus Prohit. You can avoid possible claims of indirect race discrimination by choosing to accept and consider applications from candidates with suitable skills and experience irrespective of their nationality. You could change your statement to be something like the successful candidates must by the start of their employment to have the permission to work in the UK. You could also only seek the evidence that someone has the right to work at the final stages of the recruiting process instead of the beginning. Does this mean if we are advertising a job that meets the requirement to be sponsored under the skilled worker route, we should be prepared to sponsor successful candidates even if we are not a current license holder? Yes, and you should start early. For the application process, it normally takes around 8 weeks. But it can take longer if UKVI decides to conduct a visit of your HR practices and your understanding of the sponsor obligations. It's also very important to take advice and ensure you can pass all the UKVI's checks prior to submitting your application. Will we have to apply the resident labour market test if we want to hire under either the graduate route or the skilled worker route? No, the resident labour market test has been abolished for all types of skilled worker application. This applies whether the person is applying inside the UK or outside. However, the UKVI caseworker must have no reason to believe the job doesn't exist, is a sham, or is created mainly for the immigration application. Does the time period granted under the graduate route start from a graduate's previous visa expiration date or from day one at their new employer? The answer is it starts from when their graduate route application is granted. Can I hire an international graduate to a permanent job or a graduate scheme exceeding the graduate route duration under the graduate route? Yes, you can start hiring them under the graduate route, and they can switch to the skilled worker route at any point during their stay, as long as the job meets all the necessary requirements. Alternatively, if the job meets all the requirements, you can choose to hire them under the skilled worker route right away, in which case they switch to this visa from their student visa. The graduate route visa is non-extendable, which means when their application expires, they have to switch to the skilled worker route in order to stay in the UK. Note that requiring someone to have a permanent right to work in the UK does not in line with the government guidance, which states job applicants should not be treated less favorably if they produce documents showing a time-limited right to work in the UK. What if, after the graduate route period has finished, I want to keep employing my hire, but I am unable to offer sponsorship because the job doesn't meet the salary requirements. At the end of their time under graduate route visa, your employee will still be considered as a new entrant. As they have gained valuable skills and experience during their time of stay with you, their salary will be very likely to meet the discounted rate of 70% of the role's SOC code, £10.10 per hour, or £20,480, whichever is higher. However, if that is not the case, subjected to the immigration rules on switching from the graduate route, and if the role was suitable, you could explore the possibility of sponsorship under the government-authorized exchange scheme, potentially for 2 years. This visa is sometimes also called as a temporary work visa. It has a flexible salary requirement. The role must be supernumerary or in excess of ordinary staffing requirements. An overarching body sponsors you hire, and you just need to comply with their terms. If you are really unable to offer a continuous employment, that's fine. You still have benefited from the international graduates' rich skill sets whilst they were with you. It is worth bearing in mind that a domestic graduate at this point might be considering moving on anyway, as there is naturally a lot of movement at the early stages of a career. When can graduates apply for their skilled worker visas? Do I need to wait until they have passed their course? No, you can hire graduates before they complete their course. If the graduates are applying as a new entrant, they can apply up to 3 months before they complete their course, provided that you have assigned them a certificate of sponsorship. If you are employing graduates who haven't got their results out, you need to contact their course provider to get the confirmation and the expected date of completion. You can also sponsor a PhD student before they finish their degree if they have completed at least 12 months of their study, and if the graduates are not applying as a new entrant, they can apply at any time. Can the graduate start the graduate job before they get their skilled worker visa? If the student qualifies a sponsorship from you under the skilled worker route, and they have submitted an application to the Home Office, it is normally eligible for them to start the permanent graduate role immediately, as long as it's within the 3 months of them completing a full-time course at a degree level or above, with a higher education provider with a track record of compliance. Whilst in theory, it is possible for them to apply for graduate routes to bridge any gap between their student's visa expiring and the skilled worker routes being submitted. It is notable that they have to pay an application fee of £700 and also the immigration health surcharge. So this scenario is best avoided. What are the implications if my candidate is applying from outside the UK? If the graduate has returned to their home country, you can still hire them as a new entrant. If they are 26, or if they're applying less than 2 years after their student's visa or graduate route permission expired. Otherwise, the rate will be determined according to the other tradable points criteria. For example, your job is in a shortage occupation, or you have a STEM PhD level qualification that's relevant to your job, or you have a postdoctoral position in science or higher education. What cost do I need to pay to hire under the skilled worker route? You can go to the table we have shown before to check the cost. In addition, some employers offer to cover or contribute to their graduate candidates' cost, but this is entirely up to you. This cost would include a visa fee, which ranges from £625 to £1,423, depending on the graduate's circumstances. For example, whether the graduate is applying from within or outside UK, whether the job is in a shortage occupation, and if they are applying to be in the UK for up to or more than 3 years. Then there is the healthcare surcharge cost. This is usually £624 £200 per year. They also need to pay biometric information fee for £19-20, and sometimes a visa application center fee, which can be in the region of £260. There are some additional resources for you to check if you need more support. Every link you can find in the document attached in the description. First is the UKVI. They provide a specialist support service for employers who want to check whether a person can work legally in the UK. They also run a sponsorship helpline. And you can find advisors accredited by the Office of the Immigration Services Commissioner or Immigration Solicitors, regulated by the Solicitors Regulatory Authority. And UKCISA also provides information on immigration routes for international students and graduates to remain in the UK to work. Finally, you can check with the Career Service and the Student Visa Service. It's always worth checking with your potential recruits about what level of support they can access to. Of course, it's in everyone's interest that their application is not rejected for an avoidable reason. If you have any question regarding the graduate route or the skills worker visa, either you are an employer or an applicant, please leave your questions in the comments. Also, please let us know if you want to see us making videos relating to other topics. If you want to see us creating more content like this, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. And thank you for watching. This video is created based on the document provided by the Strathclyde University.